Are you saying you faked with me?
Yeah.
I just had sex, and it felt so good.
Wrong. Now you're single.
What do you know about sexual relations?
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
I'm a little worried about being a slut.
You're listening to the Come With Us podcast, presented by Darling Way, talking the good, the kinky, and the ugly. Here are your hosts, Beth, Aaron, and Tina.
Hello, hello, all you sexy holes and poles. Whether you're a voyeur or an exhibitionist, this is this episode for you. Welcome to Come With Us podcast, where you're part of the naughty, sexy, fun conversations everyone wants to listen in on. Today, we are diving deep into those of us who want to be seen and those of us who want to watch others, whether or not they know it. Exhibitionism and voyeurism, it's one of the most popular fetishes around the world, probably. And we've got some ideas, some stories, and think about how anybody can just kind of explore and push their edges a little bit. I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius, dean of sexyedschool.com, where smart, successful, and even spiritual people go for their graduate degree in love. I'm so glad you're here. It is our sexy pleasure. I'm here with the gorgeous Tina, the handsome Aaron, and let's just dive into all things exhibitionist and voyeuristic. Okay, well, so voyeurism is the thrill of watching other people, and in this case, we're specifically talking about getting a sexual thrill from watching people. And frankly, you could get voyeuristic thrill watching somebody do something that's not even sexual. So, for example, somebody might just be really turned on watching somebody cook and put their hands in it, in something, or hell, doing laundry, right? You can get turned on by anything, but it's a sexual thrill watching people. And exhibitionism is that there's a sexual thrill or a little bit of a turn on from the idea that other people can or are seeing you do something.
Yeah, you more like to expose yourself versus, voyeurism be like the person like to watch somebody doing or observing.
Yes, right. It's
basically one is being the actual the stage show, the other one's being the audience.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The witness or the actor. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. And in this case, it's a sexual thrill. So, for example, when I was practicing at divorce law, and I was a board certified divorce specialist, family law specialist, and people would still say to me, "Oh, what do you specialize in?" And I would look at them kind of like, "Hello," but my flippant answer was voyeurism. And I didn't realize that I really did kind of mean it in a sexual way. But for me, I've always wanted to know people's stories, and that gives me a thrill. It's not knowing just about their sexy life, but knowing intimate aspects of their life has always turned me on. That's why I like reading biographies and memoirs and everything. So now I understand that there is a little bit of a sexual sort of secrecy, a little taboo, seeing things that aren't necessarily just for the public's eye. And I feel like I'm in on the secret, sort of. I don't know. Do you guys have that? Have you ever experienced
I definitely have a little bit of exhibitionism.
Yeah. What about the voyeurism?
I'm not sure about the voyeurism, but like live voyeurism, I mean, it's
or anything
interesting, I guess. But
well, you love porn, so isn't that?
Yeah, I guess that's like a form of it. But I don't know if that, like, if we classified that as voyeurism, then the majority of people are voyeurs, or at least the majority of men, and maybe like a lot of women. More than half. I don't know how many. Anyways, whatever the statistics are in watching porn, a lot of people who wouldn't consider themselves voyeurs.
Yeah, because I wouldn't classify that as voyeurs, because that would be saying, like, if you enjoy watching movies. No, you don't enjoy watching, like, that's not the thrill of the movie. Like, you just watch the movie for this, like, people watch porn for what it is, not because of, oh, this is giving me an insight into somebody else's activities. Now, like, amateur stuff, that would be more, but even like, so when dug up this study, it was 2013 out of Sweden, they asked almost 2,500 people, and 76.4% of the males that they surveyed said that they're more voyeuristic. And I mean, I fall into that category. I have that. I don't know if I have that real.
More voyeuristic than exhibitionist, or
no? Well, it's at 76.4% is the number of the number of voyeurs who were male.
Oh, okay.
So, And it makes more sense to me that way because, well, especially nowadays, is because like my age group, I grew up with the internet. And when I had and I'm going to preface this, I'm going to get us out of legal indemnity right here, or I'm going to indemnify. I don't know what the hell the word is there. You can't take this and legally come after us or say that we're giving advice, because I do not condone this. But as an underage teenage boy, the most common like thing that boomed in the internet during my coming of age was cam girl sites. Right. So you were watching, and some of them were sexual, some of them were not. Some of them was just like a girl setting up a camera in her bathroom while she did her makeup and stuff. So I feel like that probably contributed to guys my age, because there was regular porn, but there was always that pop of like, here, watch this girl play with herself while she doesn't know if you're, or not even that she doesn't know, but like, here, watch this girl play with herself and then go about her life. Like, it kind of encouraged it.
Right. Okay, and I think maybe that's where what we're missing is actually, so the voyeurism, the difference between porn and otherwise, it's that porn is done specifically for the camera and for the person watching.
It's planned out. It's all that, yeah.
Exactly. Versus, so voyeurism is more, it's watching somebody do something where they're just simply doing it versus
they would be doing it whether or not you were watching.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so there we go. So you're right. In the cam girl movement, again, a lot of that was about catching them where they didn't quite know, even though there might be, or it's like the reality shows.
Well, yeah, no, I mean,
where the camera's there, but you tend to forget about it.
Yeah,
and stuff.
And I mean, like, an older generation will go, oh, well, it was like, peeking in the window at the hot neighbor or whatever like that. But yeah, but this was like, I think the cam girl movement in the early to mid 2000s took all of that, like, what would be classified as like creepy or peeping Tom kind of thing, where like, hey, don't go looking in somebody's window when they don't want you to. That's fucking weird.
Right.
And it more so gave the power back to the individual who, again, an exhibitionist who didn't mind anybody looking at them, got turned on by people looking at them, whatever they were doing, and got to show off. And then, of course, if there's something out there, people are going to find a way to make money off of it. People did.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's true. So cam girls, really did totally change the whole interaction. It changed porn, quite frankly.
It changed porn, but it also kind of changed, like, it brought it out as a more dominant fetish, I think.
Yeah, because people had access to it. Because it was allowed. It was okay.
Teenage boys were, you snuck away and found a computer in the house that nobody else was around, or late at night when everybody was asleep, and that was what, like, that was easy to access.
And did you have to pay for that?
No.
Really?
Because
so
this was
a quick little glimpse. They'd let you have like a few minutes.
Well, it depends. Yeah. Like, I mean, I haven't looked at a cam site in a while, but at the time, it was still so new and fresh. It wasn't really a like pay to get on. It was more of a like, it was still in the infancy stage of like, hey, this is just what we're doing. Like, I'm guessing that they made their money off of ad revenue of how many ads were being on the sidebar and stuff like that, like a normal website.
Oh, I see.
Rather than a pay-to-play kind of thing.
Oh, that could be.
But no, I've never actually done the pay-to-play kind of thing.
See, when I think of voyeurism, I think that both parties have consented to be watched. That's when I think of voyeurism.
No, that
in
would
a
be
sexual way,
right? In the day and age of this, consent idea, that might be a reasonable thing. Like, that might be a good thing, as that's perhaps the difference of somebody being a peeping Tom and getting caught in the bushes looking in a window versus somebody saying, okay, you can do this. But I think voyeurism does not necessarily, the thrill to the person watching does not necessarily include consent. And sometimes it could be more, I would say, a voyeur without breaking laws, like peeping in somebody's window and stuff, which is clearly illegal and amoral and bad. But if you go by a restaurant table, like a cozy little table, and people are there, and you suddenly catch somebody's nipple slipping out of her shirt or something like that, or you see somebody's hand, right? There's a little bit of a voyeuristic thrill, and it's not necessarily that the people there are consenting, other than the fact that they are in a place where there's a chance of being seen.
A woman walking down the sidewalk wearing a dress and the wind blows it up a little bit and you can see that she has what kind of underwear she has on.
Okay, isn't that just like arousal to me? Like that would be the same as seeing like I don't see the difference.
Because some might just, for some there's an extra thrill. Let's say the woman walking by, so her dress is up. So you're right, some men, some people, women too, might just get aroused at seeing a woman's underwear. But voyeurism is that extra little thrill that's, ooh, I wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. Like it was like a divine
little
act that gave me the glimpse into what she did not plan on showing off to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the voyeurism part. Just
part of it. And I mean, I guess it depends too, because still, again, the consent part of it is still, I feel like would be a big thing, is because, I don't know, I just don't want to feel like a creep. I wouldn't want to feel like a creep.
And so I think that's really important. So for example, when you go to swingers clubs or places like that, or sex parties and things like that, or even over to somebody's house, frankly, frat parties and things like that, you shouldn't just walk in and watch people having sex, right? You should basically ask permission. Is it okay if I'm here? Or do y'all know the door is open and everybody can see you? And get that consent. But if they say yes, or they make it easy for people to see, then you do have that sort of implied consent, if you will. So at swingers clubs, for example, or sex parties, there will be rooms where they can close the door. And if the door is closed, you are not supposed to open it and watch them. That they haven't consented to that. If the door is open and they're in one of these clubs or something, or a party, they know that the door is open and that people can then stand there and watch, and they consent to that.
How common is that?
Very
weird. That would see. Then again, I would feel kind of like I don't know. I'd feel kind of like a creep.
Wait,
just sitting there watching, like standing there watching a group of people have sex, like right in front of me. Like that would.
Well, except that when they know you're watching, and there are other people doing it also, then it's kind of like, if you think we at the beginning you said sort of actors and audience. Well, if somebody's acting and there's nobody in the audience, it's a little bit boring. So if these are people who want to be on stage, who want the spotlight on them, they kind of want an audience. So therefore, you're doing the role that they actually want.
Yeah, there's probably a mental hang up in my psyche that says, "Hey, that'd be weird. Like, don't be a weirdo." Because I don't know.
Well, so that's why though swingers clubs will have rules that they'll allow single women all the time usually, but they'll only allow single men on certain nights, or some nights they'll just say no single men. And they do that because they don't want it to just be, I forget the term.
They don't want it to look like a zoo.
They don't want just a line of cocks just watching and etc. So it's more, the idea is that I think in a swingers club that sometimes you might be watching and sometimes you might be the one showing.
Yeah.
And it's a give or take, but you don't have to. I do have clients that go to swingers clubs. They literally just watch every time. Just they're a couple. They're very happy. They're very monogamous. They're very faithful. But they get turned on. They love to see. They like to.
Right?
No, if they're just watching, they like to watch. But they also have some exhibitionism because they like to get dressed in ways that they wouldn't show up in their regular life. So she'll wear much more revealing, low cleavage, high skirts, thigh-high pantyhose, garter belts, fuck me shoes. He'll wear just more out there sort of shirts unbuttoned and stuff. So in that sense, they're willing to contribute to being sort of seen in a sexy environment, but they don't actually get naked. They don't engage in anything more than just
that's what I was going to say. They don't do anything.
They
don't do anything sexual usually there. They just go there, enjoy it, and then go home and let that, like, that's charging a battery for that.
Right. And they will make out together.
Yeah.
She'll sit on his lap. So they'll be doing all sorts of touching that, again, they wouldn't be this bold in their, quote, normal life, but in the club,
but they won't do
so.
anything that they wouldn't do on the couch, like while watching a movie.
Well, no, because on their own couch, they might just start fucking. And they wouldn't. But so heavy petting and discreet. They're discreet. But by the time they get in the car, like, they are so ready and horny to go home and be with each other. It's just incredible. So, but that's how I think they avoid feeling the creepy, is that they show up, they dress appropriately. They do give their own mild version of what it is, right? They're participating, they're savoring, they're not judging. So it doesn't feel like they're taking advantage of. They're not just lurking and like, oh, don't look at me. They're just like, hey, you can look at us. We're just not doing that.
Yeah, I guess I think of it wrong, because I would think of it like just like, I'm not a single man, but that would be my in my thought process, that would be the way I would go about it, like if I were single.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, if my wife said she wanted to go and just watch people, like, would I go? Yeah. I mean, I've told her whatever fetish you want to try, I'll probably almost assuredly at least try it once. But
right. That's
yeah,
what I
guess
love about you,
I
Aaron.
guess if you have somebody else there that's with you, that like you're part of a couple enjoying and you enjoy it together rather than just the dude standing there by himself, that's different.
Yeah, and I think,
and it's less creepy.
Right. And I think that somehow also, if you are a single guy, because let's face it, there are guys who are single. They're in between relationships and they are open and interested. So they can go and instead of, if you just kind of walk in and you just sort of stand and watch and don't talk to everybody, it's this idea that you're just lurking. That is the creepy. If you're there and you can socialize, if you can talk to the other people around you, if you're willing to engage, and then heck, there might be a couple or somebody there who's like wants to play with you and then be willing to do. So I think it's really just a question of whether you're on the fringe, whether you're dressed appropriately, whether you're handling yourself in a more confident, open attitude, that or if you just look like you're basically taking and not giving anything in return.
Yeah, I think that, like, I don't know. I think there's still a different, like, to me, you have to differentiate between when you do this, because honestly,
like, differentiate between
when there's consent on all sides and there's no consent on one side. Like, you're watching, like, for example, and also between whether it's sexual or just curiosity. For example, you know, there are these videos of people who've been at like a bar and you know, they've, on the other side, there's been like two people fucking, and it's like really like people are like, what the fuck? Like, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're cheering the guy on. But at the same time, I don't think those people are necessarily like that turned on. Like, that's girls and guys, like maybe,
which
they're not,
people are not turned on? The
people in the bar. No, the people in the bar, and the ones who are fucking don't know that other people are watching them. You know,
if they're in a bar and they're fucking,
no, they're fucking in like an apartment across the street, like in a window where they didn't close the blinds, or something like that, where you might not, which is in and of itself, like, you probably do know, but at the same time, like, you know, I think there's
so okay, I'd say, how foreseeable is it? Because there are people in hotel rooms, they deliberately leave their blinds open.
Yeah.
Right, me too. And then, but think about it. So if you're walking down a neighborhood street, I love to look in. If it's nighttime and people's lights are on, you know, I can't help my eyes. I'm always looking at the houses, and your eye, you look in and go, oh, that's a pretty house, blah, blah, blah. Well, so then if people are there, I think that's more of a question. If they start and they're having heavy makeout session in their house, but they haven't thought to pull the blinds, I think maybe it's okay if I just kind of see it in passing and keep going. I think maybe if I were to stand there
and just linger,
right, then that would feel creepy.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, I'm entitled to be walking by, and then if I don't know. But it's a hard line to figure out where.
To, like, it's on you. Like, you have to. Right. You can't expect privacy when you do something in the front of your house, like in a window, you know?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I think.
Yeah. And so you mentioning bar actually spurred my brain to actually realize I was wrong. Like, I don't think this took off because of the cam girl thing. I think it was the ball started rolling prior to that with Girls Gone Wild and all that stuff. Because
you're right.
That was women showing themselves off.
Right.
I mean, for a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah, but that was sex shows for hundreds of years.
Well, I get that, but I'm talking in today's modern world of it being such a popular fetish. Every human in the world was up at 2 a.m. at one point in time and saw the stupid Girls Gone Wild commercial and was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, girls just show their boobs for like a fucking t-shirt. I can print out fucking t-shirts.
Right.
Like, and that's what spurred, and that's probably the spark that lit the rest of this flame.
Yeah, because you're right. Because that was, quote, real people versus porn stars, right? Just showing off and flaunting themselves, and so they did know a camera was there, but that's
part of the fun of Mardi Gras to go in real life as it is.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're right. So Mardi Gras is another example of where the voyeurism, the thrill of walking down the street wondering if you're going to see someone flash their boobs, or
spending the money to be up in a balcony and all that.
And it's the fact, right, these people flash their boobs. They don't even just keep them for because that takes away the fun. It's you've only got a quick minute, here you go. It's the same way, like, porn used to, they called them peep shows. And
yeah, the
you
old
put
ones
a
you put a
quarter in,
quarter in,
right?
and it would run for 30 seconds, and that was
and
it.
then the thing would close. It really was Peep. And you couldn't see it. It was like, oh no, I want more, and it would keep feeding it. So, and I think that was the Girls Gone Wild too. It's like quick, and then move on to something else.
Amsterdam has had sex shows forever. Same thing, Thailand. People. It's not a novel idea that people go and pay to watch other people have sex.
Not it being a novel idea.
Live.
I'm just saying for the resurgence of why this fetish has become so openly popular as a fetish, because it still is technically a fetish, but it being that popular and that popular with males
The
in my
internet
generation
definitely changed it all. For real.
Kicked off with the Girls Gone Wild, the whatever flashers at Mardi Gras videos or whatever like that, that you could literally spend $30 and you could see 300 pairs of tits of girls who were just like, hey, I want a free t-shirt, here's my boobs.
Well, and so for me, it was also the Real Sex series on HBO. And again, it was, quote, real because it wasn't porn stars. It wasn't professional sex workers. It was people in, quote, real life who were doing things. And I was just like, oh my God, they really do. Like, I just couldn't believe some of the things that they did. So... yeah, so I think that's the voyeurism and exhibitionist kind of. So my guess is we all have a little bit of it, and it depends on kind of where. But I think if you don't have any exhibitionism, then maybe that's when you're even afraid to let your partner see you naked and stuff. And that's not necessarily healthy, right? You want a little bit of a, here, look what I've got. Don't you want to appreciate it? And it feels good to me to be seen by you. I think that's the very, very basis.
I mean, that comes to me as like a self-esteem issue that you can't look at yourself and appreciate who you are, or like you're that person who doesn't have any self-esteem at all. Like you need to be able, like, and this goes for everybody in the world. I don't care, guy, girl, whatever. And I don't want to see you naked, but
I do. I want to see everybody naked.
I know you do. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But you should be able to stand in front of a full body mirror naked and look at yourself and go, okay. Like, I'm not saying it has to turn you on. I'm not saying it has to but you should be able to stare at your entire body naked and not feel like you
ashamed.
in a house. You could be in a 5,000 square foot house all by yourself on the middle of 50 acres where nobody will ever see. If you can't do that, I would probably recommend going and talking to a doctor, because there's probably some self-esteem and stuff there that you probably need to get over emotionally to understand that, like, hey, you're just like, guess what? You were naked when you came into this world. You might be naked when you die. I mean, if you're lucky.
You'll be naked. But you're right. We should have a sense of loving our bodies. But I will tell you, for almost every woman, it is really brutally hard to stand in front of a mirror and truly look at yourself. It just is. But in a weird twist, and we hadn't talked about this before, but literally the blog that I'm writing and publishing out today or tomorrow is about how to fall in love with yourself, because it really is so important, because really until you love yourself, you can't do anything for anybody, really. So you can go to sexyedschool.com, by the way, and check out the blogs and stuff and see. But if you don't feel that little bit of like, and it's not the exhibitionist. Yeah, it's not the exhibitionist of showing off to somebody who's not supposed to see you. It's to anybody. Yeah, and you know what? And so interestingly, I would argue that the nudists, now that was the term before, I think today's the word is more naturalist. Naturists, right. They're comfortable in their body. I would argue, in fact, that they are not doing nudity as a means of exhibitionism and voyeurism. They literally are just feeling more comfortable. They're not trying to show off. They're not like getting any thrill out of other people looking at them necessarily. It's just that that's their preferred way of being. And I think that might be the difference versus somebody who does get a little bit of rush of being seen or seeing somebody. So
there was when I went to college, there was a naked club at Brown. I didn't go to Brown, but I heard about it. A few friends of mine did. And they had like a bunch of rules. But one of the interesting ones was if you got a boner, you had to leave, because they didn't want to make it like any sort of sexual, didn't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable. So...
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of like, again, just spit, or like, not that I I confess this, I haven't been to a nude beach, but isn't that part of, like if you do, like for guys, for girls, it's easy to get, or for women, it's easy to get turned on and not be able to show it. For guys, if you get turned on, aren't you supposed to hide it as best you can until it goes away? Yeah,
which quite frankly, I don't think that's actually healthy. I don't think it's really fair. I don't think that men should have to hide their turn on, because it's a little bit of like turn on shaming, if you will. But there is something about it that somehow when you're nude, you're supposed to, not get aroused by it. So it's like they're trying to combine that naturist kind of person, but I don't think that's everybody. But we really should remember that nudity is not necessarily sexual. My family, we didn't have any nudity. I never saw my siblings naked, once they got out to diapers and stuff, or my parents. So I grew up just somehow associating nakedness with sex. So everything to me was like a sexual thing. And that's just how I'm programmed. But I don't think it's healthy. I think we're much better off recognizing that nudity is just natural, and then sexual connotation is different.
French.
Yeah.
French.
Like the European, where they just do topless beaches all the time, where you may have nude beaches all the time and stuff. So, but you can't shame somebody for being raised like I was, and then seeing nudity, getting aroused, and then be like, oh, you shouldn't be that aroused.
Yeah, that's the thing, is
right.
that like you can't, like, I'm not saying that, sex and nudity should always be 100% intertwined, but at the same time, like, you can't enjoy and, if being nude is more comfortable, cool. If somebody who's not from that mindset is around you and you can't get upset at them for getting turned on by it, because that's just the way the chemistry in their brain works, and
and their body works. I think that's exactly true. But I do think trying to set boundaries and trying to focus on this is not about being sexual, because at hedonism and some of the swingers clubs and resorts and vacations, then nudity is more sexual, but for naturalists, it's not.
But again, just because somebody gets turned on doesn't mean they actually want to fuck you.
Good point.
That's the whole point. Like, you can get, like, that's what this whole voyeurism thing is that just because I get, like, if I were to get turned on watching somebody and somebody, getting naked for a shower or something like that, that doesn't mean I would want to fuck them. It just means that I enjoy seeing them and looking at them and seeing what are their clothes hiding.
Yes.
So if you are one of those people at a nude beach or resort or whatever the hell, and you get mad that somebody gets turned on by looking at you, well, it doesn't mean that they want to necessarily fuck you. It just means that they like seeing something that they weren't supposed to see, or the fact that they're seeing what you were hiding underneath clothing, whether by your choice or by the law.
Yeah. I frankly think it should be a sign of a compliment, right? It's just there's something about you that caused this reaction in my body, my brain, whatever, and be like, oh, cool. Just like somebody's eyes light up when they see you,
It's when you go into a fancy neighborhood during Christmas time because you like how the people with really big money spend really big money on decorating their house for the holidays with lights and stuff like that. It's the same reason why when you're walking through a parking lot and you see a $3 million Lamborghini, you stop and you go, wow. Like, it's just an appreciation for something that you don't always see.
That's true. And frankly, I think there are probably men who do get sexually aroused even by seeing all that, like cars or big houses or, I don't know.
Definitely.
Yes. So that can happen with a woman who walks by with her clothes on.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should be shaming people like that. So
yeah.
Okay. So now that we've got some idea of where at least we're thinking voyeurism and exhibitionism, I would say, why don't we think about, maybe we can share a few of our own stories, the good, the bad, the ugly, and maybe have some advice for people who want to explore this or push their edges just a little bit or a lot. I don't know. All right,
I mean, it'd be helpful to give tips on, like, because I don't know how many people listening to this might go, ooh, I like the idea of that in my brain.
Right.
Are just going to go jump in or go grab a friend and go, hey, I'm single, you're single. You want to go to a swingers club and let people walk around naked around us?
Yeah.
Like,
okay. So
we'll get to that.
One thing we haven't touched upon, what about like people who have sex in public places and like the idea of the thrill of getting caught? Does that count as like voyeurism or exhibitionism?
That's exhibitionism with a degree. And I think there's always risk.
Because I've done that plenty. So I would say like that has been like my most common, well, not most common, I would say like I have had sex in some whatever public places,
Okay.
So, but it was more like, oh shit, we're going to get caught, not oh shit, are people watching? You know, that was like the thrill.
Let's take this back to what you said last week when you decided to go down on your boyfriend in the middle of a fucking public alley.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't an alley. It was a
street.
street.
Okay, well, in a neighborhood street, you just literally pulled his dick out and started sucking it while you guys were walking down the street. Put yourself back in that mindset as best you can right now. Close your eyes or whatever. You don't have to. But put yourself back in that mindset of how turned on you were, how much you wanted to do that. Had a guy walking his dog walked by and saw and stopped and looked for a second, would that have turned you on more, or would that have gotten you
Scared me more.
Shit, pull up your pants? Like, so you like more of that's more of the risk play than the exhibitionism.
Yeah. I did not want to get caught.
That's the thrill for you, is that the risk of getting caught.
So it's the getting away with something.
It's the gamble.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes sense knowing your personality. It's the gamble of, we could get caught. Oh, shit, this could go bad.
No, for real.
Oh, shit, we got away with it kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not the exhibitionist because you don't want people to see you.
I mean,
you like the thrill of the fact that somebody could and you got away with not
I do like
not getting
certain
caught.
exhibitionism when I can't get in trouble. The thing
because
is that,
that's the thing. I think actually that if there was like somebody who didn't just stop, but somebody walked by and then went into a door, my guess is afterwards we would have heard from Tina, oh my gosh, and they saw us. And that little thrill of they saw us is exhibitionism.
Just a little bit. It was more like, this is illegal and we shouldn't be doing this. But there,
that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can go both ways. So
I think probably there are people that have maybe really it is all about risk and whatever, but I think they're very closely intertwined.
There's 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
You have to kind of figure out for yourself. And then again, because we want you to explore, as long as one, you're not going to get arrested, and two, not going to blame us, of course, but also that it's going to be in a way that feels good to you and not afterwards you're going to regret it. So I think you have to really get in touch with yourself, because I happen to like some of the risk, but it's also the idea that somebody would see me. Like it's the risk that they would see me and I would be embarrassed or something, and whatever that it would do.
See, I would be scared in a situation like that, especially like to be there's, we live in, especially in America, like people are just so, I don't know.
Yeah, the risk of going to jail does not turn me on at all. Like that's the deterrent. If it was only of being chastised, I would take a lot more risks.
Like if I knew I wasn't going to get into legal trouble, maybe. But that's just too much on the forefront of your mind. And I have like many stories. Like I have so many stories about this.
So if your boyfriend said, hey, let's go to whatever that place is you said, where we can be naked all the time and like bang on the balcony where people can watch and stuff, you'd be all for it.
And I have had sex like in a hotel, up on the mirror, like someone's apartment, stuff like that, where I knew that people could see. But at the same time, no one is going to arrest you for having sex. I don't think it's illegal to have sex. Actually, I don't really know, but I'm guessing if you're in your own private hotel room, like it's not illegal to have sex. They have a hard time.
I don't know about balconies, but I've had a lot of sex on hotel balconies where people could definitely be looking up and see. And again, I don't know exactly what they would be seeing, but it was this idea that they could see. And I
mean, public indecency is like hard to whatever. But anyways,
so we're not trying to talk about where the legal lines truly are, because we're foggy on those, quite frankly.
But I mean, I have like tons of, like in college, we had the D-level challenge, which was a level in our library. I'm sure most colleges have a form of this, where you had to have sex on the D level, which was like the quietest level where everyone went for finals. Like really only like the hardcore studiers would be there. But a lot of people, like we all tried it, but it's too scary. Like you're too, everyone wanted to do it, but
getting kicked out of school would not be good. Yeah.
Or
do you know even at a local university they have a naked? Well, they have what they call.
We had a naked run.
Oh, so
I wanted to do it, but I had tattoos. So like you can do it if you have tattoos. So
it's a lot more easy to identify you.
People put like masks on. So usually they're like paper bags and stuff.
Oh,
so
I was like, why can't you run if you have tattoos? I was totally
you can do
puzzled.
whatever you want.
Oh, you're just worried about getting identified.
Yeah, she was more worried about the anonymity of it.
I see. Well, this is they call it a shaving cream run. And they put shaving cream on parts of their body. And I'm like, that shaving cream is only going to stay there for about a minute, 2 minutes.
Yeah, they know that.
Yeah, they know that. But it cracked me up. I didn't know this.
We ran
was a
through
very
our library.
popular-
They ran through our library every year.
I love
during
that.
finals. 200 people would like run naked through our library.
Yeah.
See, I go back to this D-level challenge. Like, I would just pay like a really good friend who was in on it with me to like watch our backs and be like, hey, you're gonna stand guard. Hey, you're my best friend. You've seen me naked. I don't give a shit, but I need you to stand guard and like, because I want to knock this out. So it's gonna be a whole like 3 minutes of sex anyways. So fuck it, just you stand there and you make a fucking noise if somebody's coming.
Wait, would you trust a friend not to turn around and watch you though?
If they've seen me naked, I don't care. No, I'm not that person.
You're not.
Yeah, but
what
the
person?
other person has to agree also. So it's not just you.
Well,
Right,
yeah, but
yeah.
So it has to be like the girl you're with has to be comfortable enough for your
yeah,
friends.
but that's what I'm saying is if you're in a big group of friends that this is something that's open and you guys talk about and oh my god, are you going to do it? Oh my god, are you going to do it? That's when you work out a system.
See, this is how Aaron's belief that you can do anything, you just have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And that's
now
good.
that's not
totally...
that's not who I am. I'm not so open that I would want to be. I don't know if I'd want to be in the same room, like, because I know friends that have been in the same hotel room.
College, oh my god, we used to fucking like, because everyone lived in like fucking. We lived in rooms with 2-3 people, and everyone was having like.
Yeah, you went to school in the
lot of
Northeast.
Sex, so you were having sex with your roommate in the room.
None of my roommates.
Nope.
Well, I didn't have that many roommates in college, quite frankly. But none of my friends were like having sex with other people in the room.
I had a roommate my freshman year, and then when I went back and went to another school, I had an apartment all by myself, and I worked 40-something hours a week, plus going to school 20 hours a week or 18 hours a week or whatever, to make sure that I could live by myself because I didn't want to be around people.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to do my own thing.
Because there are people that have, I know roommates and friend groups that have kind of had to break up because one person was having too many overnights and stuff. And it's kind of,
But yeah, like I know people who have gone on like couples trips together for like going to a friend's wedding, and they've split the room and like, hey, we're gonna have sex in the bed. You guys go have sex in the bathroom, kind of thing. Like after the wedding,
take turns.
That's weird to me. Like that, I wouldn't want to do that.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I've
But that's
definitely
why-
been on vacation and like.
But
had
like, see,
sex the same
you're that
time as
type
my
of
friends and-
person. So I would have imagined that you would have in that group of friends, you would have found somebody and gone, okay, you're the lookout. We're gonna do it, and then we're gonna come back next week, and I'll be the lookout, and you
I
guys
had
do
sex
it.
on a Miami beach right next to one of my best friends who was also having sex on Miami Beach, and there were people watching.
But you didn't complete this challenge because you didn't think forward.
So you didn't have
there were
sex
people
on the
watching actually for our benefit. Well, our behalf. People who were in our group.
Wait,
of
so did you
friends.
get it?
Wait, did you get the library challenge? Did you succeed?
No.
You did.
The
Okay,
guy
that's
could-
the point. Is that you didn't have.
So I didn't even get to like the sex part, but I have a good friend who said she was the closest person I know in my circle who did it. The few people I know did it, and she said the guy couldn't finish because he was too
much
scared.
pressure.
Yeah,
that is funny.
So,
I mean, does finishing have to happen? I mean,
I don't know.
No.
I mean, this is not where I
again,
went to
you're
school
looking for,
sanctioned
like,
event.
You're looking for like 90 seconds of like get in, get out. Hey, we did it. Like 3 thrusts and let's go.
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Anyways, so, but there's lots of like, I have lots of those stories that would be considered exhibitionists to an extent, so you can't,
risky behavior activity that is designed that there is a higher than likely chance of somebody witnessing at least part of it or
exactly.
getting caught.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's
Absolutely.
definitely some voyeurism. I've had stairwells. I think elevators are
Roadhead.
very, very, very common. Roadhead. Yeah, driving by and having the truckers like honk at you and stuff as you're going by because your head's in somebody's lap.
Or like
Yeah.
flashing anyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've like been in cars and driven. Basically, I'm half naked or something, or had a vibrator going with my legs between. Yeah, and stuff
my
like
God.
that. So, I wasn't driving at the time. I have to say.
Well, yeah, I would hope not.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Was not that, but yeah. So, I think there are lots of women who will wear sort of sheer tops without bras and everything. That's
Well,
kind
I
of a
think
form of
It's
exhibitionism.
also a slippery slope. Like whatever women wear or men, like you're not asking. Like you can wear whatever you want, and it like doesn't have to be sex. Like you're not looking for it to be sexual.
Not necessarily, but I think there are times where you are deliberately doing it, right? And that's okay too. But again, it's a very fine line. And if you, for example, if you're wearing a skirt and you're not wearing underwear, you would say, okay, most people aren't going to see, but you do run the risk that you're going to walk by something and, a grate is going to blow up some air. And
I never wear underwear, but it's not because it's a sexual, like it's the thing at all. It's because I just don't like underwear.
Yeah, and that could be. But there are some people who do it as a form of sort of sexy play, and it makes them sort of turned on.
But I rarely wear skirts and dresses just because of that fact. And if I do, I probably wear underwear.
Yeah. But I mean, it's this is a whole nother area we could go down, because I have a feeling you are going to get mad at me for this. It's just like a woman who wears a really low cut top or a really tight jeans, and then gets upset that a guy checked out her ass. Like, no, you're clearly, like, whether you're not doing it for a public, you did it to feel good about yourself. Don't be mad that somebody thought you were appealing to and wanted to look at you. Now, if they're constantly staring at you, that's one thing. But if you walk by a guy and you have really nice tits with really good cleavage going, and he looks down as he's passing you, don't be pissed. Like, that's, again, like stopping and seeing a really cool work of art.
Right.
Like, don't be, why is everybody objectifying me? No, it's not an objectification thing. It's I saw something that I liked. Take it as a fucking compliment and don't be a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Well, I would disagree. I think looking is fine. You obviously have to have some modicum of self-awareness when you dress. Like, obviously, if you're wearing something. Yeah. But, like, most of the time, it's not just looking.
But that's what I'm saying, is the constant peering. Like, if it's a dude who's following you around the bookstore because, like, he thinks that you're attractive, that's one thing. If he's just going to follow you and stare at you and not have, like, if he wants to talk to you but doesn't have the balls to go up and talk to you, that's different. That's just being a creep.
So think of it just the same way we talked about. If you're walking down the street and you glance in somebody's window, and you kind of keep going.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
But if you just stand there staring in, that's a little creepy, and it can be a little bit bothersome. How's that? And there you can just close the curtains. But if you're out in public, you don't have the curtains to close. So then I do think there needs to be a way you should be able to move on or something. It's just not, it doesn't feel good, right? It may not be illegal, but it doesn't feel good. And I think that's a reasonable place to recognize that there are people's behavior that doesn't make us feel good. There are ways that somebody can look at us that doesn't make us feel good. And they might have the, quote, right to do it, but it still doesn't make it feel good. And that's okay.
But that's just human nature. That's a you problem at that point in time. Like, you don't have to wear the low cut top. You could wear a hoodie. You could wear a jacket. You could wear just a regular neckline. Like,
that's right. You have a choice and they have a choice. And it's just a question of, if we want to encourage people to be more polite, to be kinder, then we want them to not necessarily make other people feel bad. But yeah,
what
so
if they
again,
say
it's
something, Aaron?
Well,
again, it depends on how you go about. Now, if I were to see you walking down the street, like, we're in the same store and you're dressed with a low cut top and I think it looks really good on you. If I look at you once and I keep going and I'm on a different aisle, and then I see you again in the store and I say something of like, hey, I really like that outfit, or something to, like, just start a conversation of, like, me hitting on you, that's different. Now, if I'm literally following you up and down every aisle, like sneaking around, that's weird. That's creepy.
Right. So
if it's literally I am trying to engage you and kickstart something, that's just me. Hey, I saw someone I find attractive. I want to be able to connect with them. I want to see what can happen.
I think it's a real slippery slope for all guys, just to FYI, to start a conversation with, I really like your outfit. To me, I don't know.
I mean, but people have the right to do it. And so I would say I see this all the time, and I get this on my YouTube channel, right? I show up and I wear things that I hope look good, because, I want to be able to look at these videos and not be embarrassed by them. So I do try to look good. I try to look a little bit sexy because I'm talking about sexy stuff and I like it. And then I will get people on there that will say, wow, you look really great, or I really love that dress. Now, maybe they're trying to be kind of a lech or creepy about it. I just take it as a compliment and I say thank you. Now, if they go like too far and they go, oh, this, I'd like this, and oh, I wish you'd sit on my face, I find that a little offensive. Like they went too far, and I'm just like,
that's not an opening line.
That's not good. But otherwise, I try to just give people the benefit of the doubt and to recognize I am putting myself out there. I know what I'm wearing. I am, it's okay. And then how could I then expect them to overlook that, right? When I wear a sexy bra or something, I know people are going to see that. So it's foolish to think, oh, they're going to see this and I'm wearing it and nobody's going to talk about it. That's kind of like stupid to me. So yeah, if somebody says, hey, I like the video and I love that bra, I'm like, cool, thank you. That's a win-win for everybody, I think. But
you're also, it's within the realm of like you're already talking about sex, like you're, like this isn't.
But if you're out in public in whatever you're wearing, and frankly, if you're wearing a tie-dye outfit or you're wearing a panda costume.
If I'm at CVS and I'm wearing let's say I'm wearing spandex shorts that just came from the gym and guy goes, oh, I really like your outfit. I'm going to be like, yeah, that's a little fucking creepy that you came up to me while I'm buying fucking tampons at CVS that you just told me staring at my ass that you like my outfit.
Well, okay, right. So I would say it was just not a really great.
Absolutely,
it wasn't a great pickup line, right?
No.
He just failed. That's all. But
I've told a woman in the grocery store that and I'm married, and I was like, hey, I really like that shirt. Now it was a really cool shirt, and it was a college that I went to that nobody else went to.
So different, not.
But so context. I think context makes a big difference, and I think. But you're right that if men are actually looking to connect more, they probably are better introducing something else. Like I said, I prefer on the videos if something about the content, and then if they want to compliment my looks also, that's fine. If they just talk
if a guy's
whatever.
picking me up in a bar and I'm wearing something super low cut and I have, not to brag, a voluptuous chest, I wouldn't mind that. If he had came up to me and started talking to me about something else, and then we were flirting, he's like, damn, your tits look great in that dress or shirt, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. That's fair.
But I'm saying this is a stranger who has literally got nothing, that they have learned nothing about you except for the superficial. All they have seen is the outside of the car. They don't know what the engine, they don't know how the engine runs. They don't know how the upholstery feels. They don't know anything. They see something from the outside and they and they're
nice
trying
smile
to.
Or,
well, yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing though, going back to our topic, let's just put it this way. When it comes to being an exhibitionist, then you take the chance that people are going to handle it the way that you want them to or not. You just have to understand that some people will respond well, in your view, to whatever it is you're doing. And some people are not going to respond the way that you like. So somebody might be like, cover those boobs up. And somebody else might be going, those are great. Either way, you take that chance. So we just have to each recognize that we all do have free will. And we just want to figure out, again, where your comfort zone is.
Yeah.
And then do. Yeah. So, all right. So if people want to play in the realm of pushing their buttons, again, don't do a peeping Tom. Don't just go up and kind of stand outside people's windows. Don't creep through yards. That can get you arrested. Don't do that.
Not only that, it's just weird.
Well, it's yeah.
I mean, these days I think your best bet to be a voyeur is either on the internet. So we talked about this.
Yeah, but there's something more in person. So let's think about where can people go? So there are lots of bars where you see people dressing in all sorts of shirts with their boobs hanging out, short skirts, high heels. You can go to, there are places that we know you can go to burlesque shows. There's all sorts of there's sexy places in every city. There are.
Would a burlesque show count as voyeurism though? Because that is like an onstage performance. That's just like a strip club.
That is, but people people will dress, even in the audience, they will be dressing in more seductive ways in keeping with the theme and stuff. So you can dress a little bit more. I think there might be some thrill of that. Maybe that's where the private dances come or something, that sort of stuff. Because otherwise on stage, they know they're being looked at. So that's where more the performance, but who knows?
I don't know. For a voyeuristic, I wouldn't count a strip club as voyeuristic because you are literally there for that. Unless you are literally the guy who sits in the corner of the strip club and doesn't talk and doesn't engage with anybody, then that would be a quote unquote voyeuristic thing, but that also is borderline creepy.
But you could be somebody there watching other people get dances and watching the men, because I could go and the women that I know they're performing, they wouldn't that wouldn't excite me, but seeing how the men respond to them and everything, that would be more.
Yeah, but
voyeurism, right?
A guy going to watch women at a strip club dance and take off their shirt. That's
just what they're supposed to do. That's performance.
Yeah.
But what about a sex show?
Again, if it's done for the purposes, on a stage kind of thing, then it's the performance, I think. But I think when you go to, if you go to a quote, an open party, or you go to a makeout bar, where Yeah.
What is that?
Well, so in Houston, there's this place called Marfrela's. That's where I used to host sexy trivia. It's very much a makeout bar. You can go there. You can dress revealing. You can be baking out, fooling around.
Okay, so maybe that's
stuff like that.
Find your
but you know,
city's makeout bar.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find places where sort of the cozy little corners in the table where it's okay to kind of, as long as you're not drawing too much attention to yourself, but you know that people can watch you if
like
they
in
want.
Vegas, there's a lot of voyeurism that happens in
Yes.
like, because they set up restaurants and clubs and stuff, so people
Right.
and you know
Knowing
that people are
getting
watching.
freaky.
I literally happened to
Yeah.
was unintentional, but me and my dad are sitting in this restaurant. The couple like across from us, who's like a much older gentleman, a much younger woman, were like straight up making like I swear there was like third base, and they knew that we were watching because they kept
Right.
looking at us. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
with my dad, like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Although the age difference
Yes.
the age
I know,
difference in
that's
them,
what
they probably
I
thought it
think
was the
that
same
they
thing.
thought
Right.
we were like
Yeah.
another couple or
Yes.
something, and they were trying to like engage. I was like,
Yep.
this
Oh.
is horrible.
Yes. That's exactly, and that's where you might get the reaction you want, and you might not. But yeah, I think Vegas is a great place for people to go if they want to play with either voyeurism or exhibitionism, because you can wear pretty much anything you want or as little as you want, and you can watch all sorts of things. You can get away. It's just that sort of more. It's a hedonistic environment, if you will. So that can be kind of fun. And the pools, people are doing all sorts of things in the pools there and on the chairs and the cabanas. So I think that's kind of a relatively safe and easy place to do. And then obviously swingers clubs, I think, are great. We need to do a couple of different shows and we'll talk about more of the etiquette and stuff there. But those are good places. But I will caution you, no matter where you are, check the places out, because there are some that are very nice and I would feel very safe and comfortable, and some that would not necessarily feel as comfortable to me. So you do want to know where you're going. And then there are all sorts of different private parties and things like that, that if you really want to find a community of swingers or naturists or whatever, you can find that. You can play with the sheer like clothing. You can play with not wearing underwear. You can play with making out at restaurants or feeling each other up. You can play with taking sexy pictures.
Don't wear a bra.
Don't wear a bra.
I don't wear a bra. And honestly, I don't do, again, I just don't like bras, but it's gotten like, you know, like if you're with someone and they know you're not wearing a bra, you know, they can feel you up much easier. It happens at baseball games all the time.
Yes. Oh yeah,
You know,
movie theaters and
movie
stuff.
theaters.
And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
shows. Oh my gosh, where there are insertable remote control vibrators or wearable cock rings and stuff that he can wear. So playing with those things is very much plays with that exhibitionism, voyeurism, because it's like the sneaking around and the risky that you're playing with things. You can feel things that nobody else necessarily knows, but they might see you jump. They might see you have, like some women will orgasm from them and stuff. And so you can play with those kinds of things. You can wear you could wear a collar, you could wear rope. You can get like shibari, have somebody do some shibari ties and stuff so that you might see hints of rope and stuff, and you're wearing those and people might see more or less.
So that's like more on the exhibitionist side.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. And then, yeah, hotel rooms and stuff. Okay, wait. So Erin, you haven't you said you did the cams, but have you ever played with voyeurism and exhibitionism since watching those cam girls?
I mean, other than
Cam
being
women?
like naked around my wife or
Yeah.
like by myself, like if I like when I lived by myself in college, there were times where I would just be naked in my apartment because I didn't really feel like doing more fucking laundry, but two, I just didn't care. Like nobody would have seen me anyways because
No. So if nobody's going to see you, that's not really.
yeah.
No. But okay. So here's my question for you. If there were a hotel room and you just wanted to be naked because you kind of like that, but you leave the window blinds open, would you get any thrill if there was a hot woman that could see into your hotel room?
Probably not. That would give me stage fright, I think.
Really?
Like, not even, well, do I know that she's watching me?
Well, what if you think she might be watching? Like you think, you're not really sure.
I mean, what am I am I just like hanging out watching TV naked
or
on a
walking,
hotel bed?
Yeah, maybe you're pacing on the phone. I don't know. In other words, you're naked doing whatever, and you just think that she might be watching. Would you close the blinds?
I
Or
probably
would it-
wouldn't, just because I don't like. I mean, I'm married, so I probably would now because again, like it's mostly for my wife. But I mean, I don't know I don't know how to describe it that way. I mean, I don't know, but like, would she be pissed if I knew a woman was watching me while I was naked in a hotel room and I didn't shut the blinds? Yeah, she'd be pissed.
She would?
Yeah.
Even if it was a total stranger?
100%.
Oh. See, I'm thinking she'd be like, yeah, you're, again, like my language, you're my Ferrari, and I'm excited that somebody sees you. I mean, don't follow up with it. We don't know her, but yeah, she should be jealous of what I've got.
No, I think you're in the minority there.
Okay, that's interesting. So I've had dares from my partners that like to open a hotel room door naked, for example, for room service or whatever it was or something. And I was like, okay, like pay me a couple $100 and I'll let somebody see me naked real quick. It was like totally fun. And yeah, they I think kind of got a thrill that somebody else got a glimpse of me. I mean, clearly it wasn't anything that was going to happen. So I don't know. Seems to me like there are a lot of men who very much like the idea of other men being able to drool over their female partner, not necessarily do anything else, but because think about men who go in Vegas and all the skimpy bikinis and everything like that. I mean, come on, people are watching and they're not hiding a whole lot.
No. So
I don't know. To me, that's where this woman across the hall, across the way, looking in your hotel room is.
Like if I were single, I mean, it's been so long. I probably think it would. One, I would be like, why the fuck is she like? Honestly, what is that appealing about?
Okay,
this?
So that's where we need to work on. But you would be,
but also
attractive.
It would probably give me stage fright of like, okay, like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to act. It would be like do I just go about like, is she watching me because she's enjoying the fact that I'm just going about my life? Or is she expecting me to do something?
Oh, so that's where then it would turn it into a performance instead of it just simply being, ooh, somebody might catch me and see me. Okay, that makes sense.
And that's, again, where a lot of the stage fright would come in and be like, I don't know if I really would want to do that while somebody's watching.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that while somebody's watching.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, well... That could be an idea. So I think that going to a hotel room and leaving windows open or leaving shades open is kind of a good way to play with the thought and to see how you react to it.
Yeah.
In a pretty safe environment. So I don't know. All right. So any other ideas for people? I just
realized I've had sex in like so many places that people could see. Honestly, I've been videotaped like without my,
No, we don't know. Videotaped.
I think I've told this story, but like when we had that 5-some-ish thing in the pool, I had one a long time ago. Someone was like videoing us because it was literally in the courtyard of like a pool of an apartment building.
Wow.
So I have no idea who they were. They were like, they were like cheering us on and stuff, but stuff like that where.
See that, and that's funny because that would kind of perhaps bother me more than doing a naked run and getting identified and something.
Yeah.
And now actually, so the risk where the consent comes in, I think, is the drones.
Yeah.
Right. If you're hanging out in your own backyard with a fence and you're busy fucking and your neighbor's flying a drone and filming you and stuff,
illegal.
I would argue
that's definitely illegal.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
I don't think
all
what he was doing was necessarily illegal.
Yeah.
Because it's like
public.
You were in a public place.
I think with videoing, it's the same thing as recording. If you're in a public space, you can't expect privacy, just like when people record you if you're in a public space,
Yeah.
So.
Well, so you might have a whole nother sex tape. So.
Probably. I would honestly probably.
Have you checked the hub for it?
No, I don't even know what I would search. Like 5 crazy drunk people in the sex put a pool.
There goes Aaron to search.
Go for it.
No, I am not searching for that.
Yeah. But so I think clearly, Tina, you have very much some exhibitionist tendencies, if you will, a little turn on. I think I know I have a lot. Actually, I know I have a lot. I love going to sexy parties and watching people have all sorts of sexy fun.
That's more the
stuff.
voyeuristic tendency.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm more like that than I would be exhibitionist.
But then I'm okay. The exhibitionist part is harder for me because I am insecure about my body and people watching and judging. And yet there's also really great turn on. So the turn on for me in being exhibited is probably greater than for me watching, because watching is just easier, which is funny. So you can have that, right? You can love it and hate it at the very same time. It's that erotically charged, painfully pleasurable kind of sensation. So, yeah. But once you learn to admit it, it's a lot better, because otherwise you just are fumbling around. So try it. See what you think. But all right. I think anybody else have anything to add before we go about exhibitionism and voyeurism?
No, I had
not about that. Just don't be creepy. Yeah. I guess.
Don't be creepy. Be respectful.
Yeah.
Yes. I think
and try it, honestly.
And try it. Right. Push your edges. Let us know what works for you. Let us know if you have ideas that you might want to share with others, or if you have stories. Again, we don't want, anyway, keep it to our level of stuff, please. So, but then again, I don't know. I suppose there's a little bit of an exhibitionist. If you just write us in with graphic detail, then that could be your turn on too. There you go. So there could be all sorts of stuff. So maybe by talking here, we're all being a little bit of exhibitionists.
That's meta.
Yes, there we go. Anyway, all right. Well, I am Beth Darling, your sexy genius from sexyedschool.com. Please go to sexyedschool.com, sign up for our newsletter, get a free erotic short story, and go check out my classes on how to blow his mind while loving his body, the art of orally pleasuring her, and for men, how to increase your orgasm up to 10 times using a Narrows prostate massager. So again, sexyedschool.com is where the smart, successful, and spiritual people even go for their graduate degree in love.
Thanks for listening. Also, while you're here, make sure you go and leave us a rating, especially on Apple Podcasts. Go rate us 5 stars, leave a review, let people know what you like. You can always follow us on social media at Come With Us Podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, at Come With Us Pod on Twitter. DMs are open on all of those. Or if you want to set in, your experience with exhibitionism and voyeurism, or maybe you're looking to get into it and you don't know exactly how to go about it and you want some advice, just hit us up, email us, comewithusconfessions@gmail.com, comewithusconfessions@gmail.com, and we'll figure out a way to help you branch out and experience something new.
Yes. And if you have any other questions or topics you'd like us to cover, again, email us, reach out, let us know. We are happy to help fuel your desires. All right. I'm Beth Darling, your sexy genius. Thank you from Tina and Aaron. Thanks for joining us for the podcast you need when you want the bare naked truth about love, sex, and relationships.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Come With Us podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at Come With Us Podcast and send in your questions, comments, and confessions to comewithusconfessions@gmail.com. Until next time, keep it fun, flirty, and naughty.